Thank you for taking your time to talk to me and getting everything set up. So, you're going to be the first person I interview for my podcast that I'm starting. So,
Okay.
I greatly appreciate you and your time.
So what made you want to do the sports car podcast?
So, I started really getting into like sports marketing and media. I went to college in Florida, Full Sail University for it. And
Hmm.
I got my degree in sports marketing and media. One of my best friends, Kyrie, is going to do this with me eventually when he gets time. Um, he went there for broadcasting and he was
Oh,
like, we should so we started a TikTok. We've been going live almost every day. We've been getting a lot of, attention, attraction. And he said we should do a podcast. And then, he was like, let's ask people if we do a podcast if they'll tune in. And I'm like, okay. So I
mhm.
did, and everybody was saying, yeah, they wanted us to start one. So, we're gonna get that rolling.
And okay, so it's sports based. So man, it's funny you said that sports marketing because, and we'll get into it, I guess, when we start talking. But uh, I was my dad retired military in Denver. So when I was getting recruited out of high school, of course, the University of Colorado was recruiting me, and so when I visited there, they had a school of sports marketing.
Oh, really?
They had yeah, they had a school of marketing and advertising. I mean, so
Okay.
that could have been my major. So as far as school, I should have went to Colorado, but football wise, I chose A&M. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So but I love marketing, man. That's I still do that. Whenever I can. Right now, I have a company called 25/8 Consulting.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done this book. I have a documentary that I'll send you,
Yeah.
a football documentary that I'll send you. We did we did the two oldest black um, high schools in Fort Lauderdale. We did a we did a documentary on that game, and it was called the Soul Bowl. So we did that, and that came out 2 hours. And I got two buddies, Dave and Elliot Merlis, that live in Florida. Uh, man, we did T-shirt line, we did art, sports art, we did all kinds of stuff that took marketing,
Yeah.
and being able to all marketing is, man, is you can't have an ego, and you got to be able to accept no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, one a million no's and one yes.
Yep. Got to go through all them those to get that one yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
But and
So,
and so where are you located?
Philadelphia?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the Philadelphia area.
Oh, okay. I was up there. Speaking on that, I was just up there, and I did a golf tournament at West Point
Okay.
at the military academy. So
Nice.
they have the Buffalo Soldiers. Uh, had the Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers uh, annual reunion, and so we added a golf tournament to that. So I went up there for that, or a golf social. So
Mm.
I went up there for that about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but with that logistically, that is a nightmare because trying to get everybody into New York is so you got the you got the New York the U.S. Open. You got West Point's first home football game, and then we trying to do a golf tournament in the midst of all of that, man. So hindsight, we need to pick another date.
Right, right.
not that weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not Labor Day weekend. But yeah, so I was up there. We flew in and I got out of there, and that's it, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so, what's your sports back? Oh, I know your school background in sports. Did you play ball?
I did in high school and, obviously all through growing up, but a lot of what I did was actually boxing. I boxed
Oh, okay.
more than I, did football, but I always wished that I stuck with football and went through with it. So that's one of my
Hmm.
biggest regrets, which is actually why I went to the college I did to get a sports degree.
Oh, okay. Boxing, yeah. I went. There's a boxing uh, excerpt in my book. I was we were living in some apartments when I was growing up, and this guy named Manuel, man, he would just all my friends, he was coming to pick them up every day to take them to go box, and I just jumped in the back of the truck one day and ended up boxing.
Yeah.
But boxing, it's a lot of it taught me discipline. It taught me that working the boxing workout is it's something else, man. He all the running and the training and that's why I learned to jump rope really good and all that stuff. But yeah, so I fell in love with boxing, but uh, I was too big because back then, you fight in the Junior Olympics. I was 13 and I weighed 147, so I was
Oh,
trying
wow.
to fight. I was trying to fight 16-year-olds. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's what got me out of boxing,
Right, right.
and then I stuck with football.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I have like I have some cards here with some questions I have and I'd really appreciate, some of the answers and just see pick your mind, see where, where you are with it with everything.
Okay, sounds good.
So what was your path like for Florida from Florida A&M to the NFL?
I was Texas A&M.
Oh, I'm sorry, Texas A&M. I said Florida because we just
FAMU. Well, so when I approach people about buying my book, I tell them that this book, here, shameless plug, is it's the story of my life from being born on an army base in Germany to the NFL via my high school, Worthing High School here in Houston.
Mm,
So I was, I've loved football since I can remember.
yeah.
And played in. My dad put me on the little. Actually, I boxed my dad put me in boxing in Germany, and so then I was too small because I was only 4 years old, and he had me boxing. But then he put me in football, and I was too small, so I just would sit on the bench and watch. Suit me up and sit me on the bench. But I love football, and then over there, you only had two channels, so I could only see probably one NFL game a week, and it was the Cardinals for some reason, over in
Yeah.
Germany. So, but I followed it. I followed it, and I followed I fell in love with the running backs, Earl Campbell, the Juice,
Hmm.
uh, all the great running backs from back in the day, Marcus Allen, and those guys.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I patterned my game after those guys. So, did I answer your question?
No.
Okay, what was it? So
No,
let's get back
well,
to the
well,
question.
no, kind of. It was more so what was your path like from Texas A&M to the NFL?
Oh, okay. From Texas A&M. So I went to Texas A&M 87 to 90. So I entered the draft in 90. I got drafted in 91. So back then they had 12 rounds of the draft. And so I went I was the 82nd overall pick
Wow.
in out of 12 rounds. So I went to Tampa Bay, and my running back coach at Tampa really got them to draft me.
Hmm.
Um, because he was a running back, and he played running back. His name was Hank Coolman. So that being said, the head coach at the time was Richard Williamson. He was a guy from that took over for an Alabama guy that was there the year before. And there's a whole thing in my book about uh, the Culver House family that owned Tampa at the time. They they loved anything from anybody from Alabama. They would give them the job.
Hmm.
Richard Williamson was not. He wasn't that good of a coach, man. And they let him be the head coach, and we were terrible. We were horrible. We stunk, man. And when I got there, I'm coming from A&M, a program where we won a lot, and it was just once I got to Tampa, they were. It's like the people on the team were used to losing. You know what I mean? The
Right.
culture was a losing culture, man. Because like first game, first game, the other team scores, and everybody just goes and sits on the bench, like here we go again, man. This and that, and so yeah, that wasn't a good experience. And then they fired him my first year, but that's where the politics came in. My first year in Tampa, I was blocking for a guy named Reggie White. I'm sorry, Reggie Cobb, one of my best friends. And so the contracts back then were highly, you know, if you get this, you get this amount of money. If you get 1,000 yards, so he had a contract that said if he got 1,000 yards, he became a free agent. So and he gets to leave shitty ass Tampa. You know, so my freshman year, I mean my rookie year, I'm blocking for him. Fast forward to the last game of the season, we fly into Chicago. He's got 981 yards, and so we're all hyped up about him getting his 1,000, and somebody's gonna get out of Tampa. So first play of the game, he gets 9 yards. So now he's at 980. So everybody we're all hyped and. So but after that first play, they took him out of the game.
Oh,
Yeah. So I got back in the huddle, and then Gary Anderson was in the huddle. And I was like, gee, where is Cobb? He's like, I don't know. I was like, is he hurt? I don't think so. He's like, ready, break. And they never put him back in on purpose.
wow.
But they knew he was going to get that landmark. And so it was twofold for myself and the offensive line. Now, since they did that to him, I'm not a rookie fullback blocking for 1,000 yard rusher, which was huge back then.
Hmm.
Our offensive line is not an offensive line blocking for 1,000 yard rusher. You know,
Right.
so I was like, so that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is it's like it's more than just there's politics involved in this shit. It's not like it's not like having fun playing football. You know what I mean? And getting paid. So that was my first run in with the political side of it, and it ended up being a big chapter in the book. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's somebody's job. Like if you're about to hit one of those landmarks, it's somebody's job to keep up with those numbers and say, hey guys, Colby's about to hit this $1 million bonus. You better, and that's why you see sometimes when you watch football that there's people. He's like, damn, why is that guy not playing? He's not hurt. I don't think he's hurt because he's about to hit, a milestone and get paid out of his contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so that's the BS side of the NFL, man. They have ways to not pay you and not let you reach your goals. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So but yeah, getting drafted and going going and reaching my dream of playing in the NFL, that was awesome, man. That was and I would always like the old school guys that I watched back in the day, they would score a touchdown and throw the ball in the stands. So
Hmm.
that's something I said that whenever I scored my first touchdown, I would do. And I scored my first touchdown in New Orleans, and I had all my family up there and whatever, and I let it fly. and then the coach was like, we watching the film, and that coach Richard Williamson, he was like, that's gonna cost you $1,000. I'm like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But see, even that though, that was a fine. So yeah, it's crazy, man, how they manipulate your contracts and your money, and you know just like this thing with Michael Parsons.
Hmm.
So to bring it to now, that's it's still happening.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Huh.
yeah, so that's my story from A&M to to Tampa,
Right.
and then I don't know if I answered your question
Yeah. Yeah, no, no,
okay.
you answered it. So what
Okay.
was the culture difference from Tampa to Dallas, and as well as what was it like being part of the Cowboys organization during the Jimmy Johnson era?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was with the Barry Switzer era.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was Jimmy's team.
Right.
Now the difference is, and this is what I tell people, this is why the Cowboys were so good or great, is the first thing I noticed is the best players, Emmett, Mike, Troy, Moose, uh, not Charles Haley. Charles Haley was just natural, but Emmett, Moose, Michael Irvin, all the best players were the hardest workers.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We was in camp, man. We'd be in camp, and Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper after practice would be running 100-yard sprints with 50-pound weight vests on. You know, so me as a younger player, I'm seeing that. And I'm like, oh shit. You gotta do everything you can do just to make the team. If the best players are the hardest workers, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like that. Bill Bates, all of the starters were the hardest workers on that team, and that's something that Jimmy Johnson. I ended up playing for Jimmy in Miami, so
Okay.
that's how I knew, kind of where it came from.
Hmm.
And that was the difference, man. And then the strength coach had a lot to do with it. He had people, reaching their peak, and as far as training, I mean, he did different kind of things, man. Because like when I was in Dallas, he had us. He wouldn't train us on the strength coach. He had a saying that he said, nothing happens on the football field over 40 yards. So he would train us from 40 yards on back, on strength and explosion.
Hmm.
And then when you think about it, it's true. Because, if somebody breaks a long run, how many times does this guy break for more than 40 or 50? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't really happen. So he trained us, and then but what was crazy about it was our our conditioning test was 16 110s, right?
Hmm.
We had to get ready for that on our own.
Wow.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't get us ready for it. So we had to train for that on our own. So that's he was the glue as far as the strength and conditioning, and all the guys loved him. His name is Mike Watson.
Hmm.
And then after I left Dallas, he went. Every team he went to was competing for Super Bowls, and it was kind of because of his training methods and what. Because man, like he would the Dallas Stars is the hockey team. He had the Dallas Stars strength and conditioning coordinator teaching us how to do the snatch,
Oh
like
wow.
Olympic, yeah, like Olympic lifts. You know what I mean? So he was unorthodox in his training, but it worked. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy. I was like, he'd be like, Norm, we used to mess with him and stuff. He had a Russian accent and stuff, so everybody give him the business.
Right.
Yeah, out of here, Norm. What the hell? This is football. Yeah, so stuff like that, man, and then Jerry Jones, was the owner, but yeah, uh, Switzer Switzer was the man, man. He took over that team, and he won the Super Bowl with him, and
Right.
yeah, and uh my ended up, so I had a good friend at A&M, Kevin Smith. He was on that team,
Hmm.
and so he went from A&M. He was the first round pick from A&M to Dallas in '92. I got drafted in '91. He got drafted in '92. Fast forward, he's my brother-in-law. I married one of his twin sisters.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but he he got all the rings.
Okay.
Jimmy drafted him. He got all three of the Super Bowl rings. So there's a story. I was up visiting him one day, and I was getting ready to sign with Indianapolis because after I left Tampa, I got cut from Tampa. I went up to Indianapolis where my buddy Quentin Coriat, who was the second pick in the draft in '92. Um, I went up and lived with him, stayed in shape, working out, and I worked out for Indianapolis. And so they were going to offer me a contract. So fast forward, I was at Kevin's house in Dallas, and it was a Friday. I'll never forget this day, man. It was a Friday, and I was sitting at his kitchen table. It was a Friday, and that Monday I was flying out to go sign with Indianapolis. He came home. He came home from practice. He's like, "Hey man, they got a locker with your name in it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "They got." I said, "He said, yeah, they got a locker with your name in it." I was like, "Bullshit, man! Quit playing around, bro." And so I was like, "Let's go see it." So he took me up there, and shit, the Cowboys wanted to sign me. I'm
Wow.
sure he had something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so I had to make the decision on flying out to Indy to sign with them or stay with the Cowboys. So after going through all the politics, I decided to stay in Texas. I was like, shit, fuck it. I'm gonna stay in Texas, man. If they screw me again, at least I'll be at home. So I signed with Dallas in '94,
Wow.
and went to camp with them, man. And I tell you, my camp. I tell people this: when I went to camp with Dallas, I got more respect from that camp than I damn near did from playing ball because those guys were Super Bowl champions, right? And I went to camp and I was blowing shit up. You know what I mean? I got more respect because they saw me at practice because I was playing behind Moose. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So they saw me more at practice and camp, so they was like, oh my God, man, you're gonna fucking kill somebody out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Coaches, all that, man. So that was I had a lot of fun at when I went to camp with the Cowboys. And so I went to camp. I made the team in '94. Oh, I skipped over 93. 93, I went to camp with Green Bay. That was just a cup
Oh,
of coffee. That was just a cup of coffee. That means I wasn't there long. You know what I mean?
okay.
So 93, I went to camp with Green Bay, but I was in the room when they signed Reggie White, and that coach said, "This is the final piece." He said, "We will win a Super Bowl." You know what I mean?
Right.
Because Reggie White was the final piece. They had Brett Favre, they had the offense, whatever. So I was in the room when he said that. So I ended up in Dallas in '94, made the team, played 8 games, and then I don't know if you're a Dallas fan, but Eric Williams, the big tackle,
I kind of remember hearing about him.
well,
Yeah.
he wrecked his car. He had a wreck.
Okay.
And on the same weekend, the first round pick, Shante Carver, had a wreck. I guess it was icy. It got icy on that weekend. He slid into the toll road. Um, this other guy flipped it. The first round pick flipped his truck. So now they're looking at now I'm falling to the numbers game
Mhm.
because they got to bring in 2 people for his guy, 2 people for that guy. So they cut me. So I came home for like 2 weeks, drinking, smoking. I was just partying. You know what I mean? I was doing it all, man, and I flew back up because they were playing Philly on Monday night. So I went back up to watch that game and got dressed, going downstairs from at Kevin's house. Got a call from my agent. Don't party too hard. You got a flight to Miami in the morning. Man, and when I tell you I had two I had 2 sets. I had clothes for 2 days. And that next morning I caught the flight to Miami. Shula chose me out of all the guys that were working out, and I didn't come back for like 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I went to Miami, I made the team. Shula put me on the active roster. He didn't have to do that. He was paying me my contract money, but I wasn't even. I was just showing up at the. I would practice, but I was just showing up at the games until I started playing. So and then so Shula treated me right, and then here comes Jimmy, and so Jimmy didn't cater to veterans. So by this time, I'm a veteran. You know what I mean? So Jimmy would rather draft 2 young veterans, two rookies, where he can, get inside the head. And see, this is what a lot of people don't know about Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson has a degree in what is it? The mind. What is that?
Psychology.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson has a psychology degree. So he has ways to get inside your mind and make you think one way or another, and so he drafts young kids. He'd rather have 2 rookies than an old veteran like me. You know what I mean? Because he
Hmm.
can mold them until he wants what he wants and this and that. But man, I tell you, but I loved his coaching style. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's even though when I got cut with Tampa, it was Sam Weiss cut me, but there was stuff that he said that stuck with me. You know, and then Jimmy Johnson's coaching style. I loved the way he coached, man. And even though he did end up cutting me, You know, I still loved his coaching style. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
it was crazy, man. Because like one time when he first came, we were sitting in the meeting room, the whole team, and there was a whiteboard down at the bottom of the classroom, and everybody's like, "Man, never seen that before. What the hell is a whiteboard doing?" Nothing. And then so Jimmy came in. He didn't say nothing. He fucking flipped the whiteboard over. He drew a small house on it, and he drew one window, and he put a 13 in that window, right? And he said, "This is the house. Dan is the only one in the house," and he walked out. I was like, "Oh shit, here we go, man. Here we go, bro." You know
That's pretty funny.
that? Hey, man. So so if you're sitting in there, you're an old veteran. You're like, "Oh shit." I gotta get my shit together in a hurry, right? Then, so that first preseason game, uh, he had brought the two rookie linebackers, Izzo, and then the other one ended up going to Hall of Fame. Damn, what's his name? Izzo and another linebacker. But Izzo played. I was a captain, so when Jimmy came, I was captain of the special teams.
Hmm.
I had fucking like 20. I had went crazy on. I had 22 before he came in. The before he came in, I had 22 special teams tackles. I was captain of the special teams. I was the the fullback on the punt team, making all the calls and all that shit. So he brought these young linebackers in, and so this is another thing a lot of people don't know about Jimmy. When we watch special teams film, the whole team is in the meeting.
Hmm.
Because he put starters on, like when he that was one of the things from Dallas. Starters play special teams. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like even back in Miami, he wants the best players on the field at all times. It didn't matter. So he brought these linebackers in, Larry Izzo. So we're watching the film for the first preseason game. Me and Larry Izzo playing the same position. We're watching the film, first kickoff return. Larry Izzo's on the front line. This motherfucker peels, knocks his man down, gets up, and goes and knocks another motherfucker down, right? Jimmy Johnson stopped the fucking tape. He ran it twice so everybody could see what happened. And then he stopped the fucking tape, bro. And he said, because he was a rookie, he said, he stopped the tape. He said, Larry Izzo, call your parents and tell them you're a Miami Dolphin. It's like, oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. He made the team off of that first tape. So now me, we play the same position. I'm really like, oh shit. What am I going? What do I need to do? But yeah, that was wild. So yeah, so he knew how to motivate people. Jimmy knew how to motivate. He'd be like, look, you're gonna get your ass out of here, or you're gonna play.
Right.
And that was, and he yeah, he had it was fun playing for him, man. I did enjoy my time with him because I like that coaching style. I like the mental aspect of getting into somebody's head because he would give the business to Dan Marino. You
Yeah.
know, so it didn't matter to him.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Zoom only lets us do 45 minutes and we have 4 minutes here. Uh,
Okay.
so I would say, here, let me see what. So how do you feel about the role of fullback has changed or has it disappeared completely in today's NFL?
Well, as quick as I can, it's coming back
Okay.
because if you notice the teams when it gets down to December, January, and it gets cold,
Hmm.
the teams that go to the playoffs, they institute the fullback. The teams that because you have to run the ball to get to the playoffs. You
Right.
know what I mean? San Francisco, um, the Philadelphia Eagles. It's usually they call it an H back, like the tight end. It's a tight end on the roster, but he's playing fullback.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I think it's coming back, and that and then on the goal line they put defensive linemen at fullback. You know, these days, so I I think it's underutilized because everybody's in the gun and all that shit.
Right.
So but yeah, but then they don't know, man, because it, if you're in the gun, if I'm a defensive player and you line up in the gun with one back in the backfield, there's a free person on defense
Hmm.
because there's somebody that's designated to the other back. Now he's not on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, so yeah, but yeah, I think it's underutilized, and but you see it coming out when it gets down to nut cutting time when it's time to go to the playoffs and people have to run the ball either in December and January. If you don't run the ball, you're not going to advance.
Right. Right.
You're not going to advance. You're not going to the playoffs. You're not going to see a home field advantage. Oh, and that was the other thing with Jimmy Johnson. He had a thing he said this was his plan. He said home field advantage. When you get home field, you win two games and you're in the Super Bowl. That was his formula, you know.
Huh.
But you get home field advantage, you get the bye, and then you win your divisional round and the AFC champion NFC championship. You're in the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and and two out of three of those games are at home. So
Right.
yeah, you know what I mean. That was his plan. That was his blueprint, and it worked because they won three Super Bowls. They should have won three or four, but Jerry let Jimmy go.
Right.
His ego. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Let me ask you a question. What do you think about the Parsons trade?
I think it's crazy. From what I heard, Philly wanted him, and I honestly, I wish Philly got him.
Oh man,
I think he
damn.
would have,
Yeah.
we would have been even more of a unit with him on there.
No shit. Well, yeah. I mean, because you can't double anybody now on Philly.
Right.
Yeah, you can't double anybody on now. I just saw TikTok. One of the guy that took the kickback was on the phone with his wife, and Jalen Hurts walked in the room,
Hmm.
and then
Jordan
he's like,
Davis. Yep.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah. So real quick, we have less than a minute here. I don't want it to cut off. I am
Okay.
going to link your book when I post this video. I'm going to link it in the description so everybody can purchase it there. And thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope to stay in contact with you and just keep this.
Yeah, man. Let me know. I can.